Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ryan in Singapore, and welcome to our mindfulness practice. Are you a person who's like me that a routine is what helps you be consistent in the things that are helpful for you? So that's that is the way that I maintain like motivation, mental health, this kind of momentum, right? There's a momentum that I tend to build with the things that I do, and I find that when I get sick, when I have other things going on in life that I can't, maybe I'm traveling, I can't execute my routine the same way that I usually do. It can be challenging just to keep things together, keep doing what it is that I know is going to be helpful for me mentally and physically, to stay balanced and to do the things that I want to do. And I think that, that's important to know what that is for yourself. Right? What's that most important thing for you to do? And sometimes, well, often it's about connecting with our intention for life in general. So what is the thing that I can do that is beneficial for me and the rest of humanity? I mean, it depends on how you want to look at it and approach it. I mean, one of the reasons why I've been away is that what I've been liking to do in these live events is to build a structure for these live lessons so that it's not just, that each lesson can live independently of the others, but also that there is some kind of flow. I like that. It helps to keep me motivated and consistent, and to feel like I'm really sharing something that's important, and hopefully it's helpful for you as well. And so that is what was kind of my analysis paralysis this time. Was, I'm creating the next series, and instead of it, I think the last series was about 2 months long, and this one's not going to be different than that. It's going to be, every week, 2 sessions, some related to this particular upcoming topic, which is the foundations of mindfulness. And I really, because it's so many lessons, I just wanted to make sure that there was a really nice, consistent flow between all of those lessons. That this lesson flows nicely into the next lesson, and so that I've got a good, 12 to 15 lessons that all really have a nice, consistent flow to them. And what I found was that, I really wanted it to be perfect. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing anything, that the flow was there from one lesson to the next. And as you'll see, I still haven't published them, that it's like, so far that the events are today. The event that's in 48 hours from now are the 2 that are there. There are a couple final buttons I want to put on the last couple events, just to make sure that I'm really hitting all of the points that I want to there. And it's just funny to see how that works. And I guess I want to say, and I see Jean says, be gentle with yourself. That one of the most important things for me about this live event and sharing in that circle is to really give you the real me. And the sharing that I do here isn't just to get whatever's going on with me off of my chest. The reason that I do it is because I believe quite strongly that whatever I am experiencing, I am not alone in this experience. And my sharing whatever's going on with me will tend to resonate with you. That, maybe this is one of the reasons that you're here on this live event in particular, is because whatever it is that, like, those experiences that I go through in life that I share are because, like, maybe you go, hey, wait a minute, I hear that in my life. I notice that happening, and I want to, I it's nice to hear how another person goes through an event, a similar event that I'm going through. And that's really what these are about. And my upcoming live events are really about, what I have been learning about the foundations of mindfulness, and it's something that I really wanted to share with everybody here. So, and that's really what today's topic is about. Kat says, I definitely need to establish a routine. I've been managing health issues, so it's easy to justify the lack of one. But I can't help but think that even 5 minutes of consistency category would be helpful. And 100%. And that's really what I kind of wanted to share today, was about how, what it's like to not be in that routine and the challenge of going back into it. And what I discovered, and it was last week, and that's one of the reasons I posted this event, was just how my physical movement practice, what that does for me, and to share how beneficial that is. And, it is, for me, it's yoga, right? I do yoga 3 times a week. And I did yoga 3 times a week, and I haven't been consistent on it. And it was last week that I came back for the first time after probably 2 months of not doing my yoga practice. And the moment was, there was one particular posture that's quite a challenging posture that I've been able to do in the yoga studio, and I've went into that posture, and I'm just not able to get into that posture anymore. And the yoga teacher, I've been in this yoga studio for over 3 years now, right? So obviously they know me, and she said to me, hey, aren't you able to do this posture? I've seen you do this posture before, and then she said, why aren't you able to do it now? And I just loved the observation of self that happened in that space, right? And to notice what was happening in my mind and body, because this is really what mindfulness practice does. It helps us to see that happening. And I know, she was asking from a teacher's point of view, what happened? What's different? And I just had to say, well, I've been a bit sick. I haven't been able to do it. My routine's been interrupted. And noticing the desire to justify, noticing wanting to be defensive, to protect myself. And then when I really came down to analyzing who I was protecting myself from, I know that it's not my yoga teacher, right? And then I said to her, like, I almost came back last week. I could have come back last week, but I chose not to come back last week because I just couldn't face myself, right? I just couldn't face myself. And that's really what I think it comes down to. I wasn't protecting myself from her or her perceived judgment. I was protecting myself from myself, from my own high standards of what I think I should do. And, seeing that. And it's like I have a friend of mine, he hasn't, he's over 60. He hasn't been to the doctor he won't even tell me how many years it is, because he's afraid what he's going to find out, and I think it's a good time for me to say to you, go to the doctor and get your checkup when you need to, right? Because it sure is easier to take care of that challenging physical situation that you're having earlier than it is later, right? Like, stage 1 is possible to fix, right? Stage 4 or 5 it's like, maybe it's already too late. So you catch these things early, and you have a much better chance of being able to take care of yourself. And what's the point of longevity? It's for me, I think there's, I'm excited. I'm excited to live in this world. I'm excited to see what it is that's happening. I'm excited to watch new technological breakthroughs. I'm excited about what I'm learning. And I don't want it to end early. I mean, that's it. Is I just love engaging with life. That's kind of this key to longevity and wanting to be in this world longer. And so, what's your motivation? And that's what keeps me in the yoga studio and keeps me on the meditation cushion and keeps me eating well, and keeps me sleeping enough and keeps me hydrated, to name the 5 pillars of mental health. I want to keep engaging with this life and keep improving myself and trying my best to help others to improve as well. So, this is the practice, and this is the benefit, this is the intention. And so as I look at my yoga practice and I see myself avoiding myself, it's just because things don't stay the same. Especially if you don't do the things that you physically normally do. If you're not doing your movement practice, you're going to see, especially past age 40, right? You're going to see your body changing in a declining way. So taking care of yourself is something that is important at any age, but you're going to see the deterioration more dramatically as you get older. And this is really what today's topic is about. It's about the impermanence of the body. The body doesn't lie. You can tell yourself, you can spin all kinds of stories to yourself to say, well, here's what it is. Here's what I think's happening. Here's my justification of this behavior. I think it was around the holidays. We were talking about like gaining weight around the holidays, and it was like, well, is it bloating? Is it what is the extra weight? And I find that in that time there was denial, there was justification. Like, is it bad? Is it bad to be fatter today than it was yesterday, to have more fat on my body today than it was yesterday? Does that mean I'm not able to accept myself as I am today? And if that's the case, that's what's so powerful about the present, is that this is what's here. I heard someone say recently about, one of the powers of the present moment is that you may say to yourself when something is painful, right? I can't take it. I can't take it for another minute more, right? But the beauty is you're here now, and you're already in that experience now, and there's courage for being here now. There's courage of taking and accepting and being in that difficult situation. And this kind of this self-talk of I can't bear it for another minute, right? Like you can notice that self-talk, and you don't have to be caught up by it or to be swept in by it. Like, you have overcome that difficulty in this moment already. A quarter of a second ago is already gone, right? You are here in this moment, and the body doesn't lie. So as much as we may say, oh, this extra weight I've gained is, it's bloating. I didn't do that because of, I didn't do my movement routine today because of, you can see what's going on with the body. And the body is a window into the mind as well. So as I'm going into that posture, I'm not able to get into that posture. My teacher is talking to me, seeing what's happening in my mind as well. And it's kind of this wanting to justify what it is that's going on. And it's that mindfulness of being able to be honest with myself. Right? In the mind, we have room to pretend. In the body, there's less room for us to hide. Our body will show us our energy level, our flexibility, our tension, our fatigue, our illness, when it is, and it is this kind of honest feedback. Our body doesn't flatter us or shame us. And what's interesting is as we go back into the body, what happens into the mind? So, for me, anger, discouragement, comparison of how things used to be, giving up before I've even started because I just don't want to face myself. And then what was also interesting about that interaction that I had with her was that it affected the rest of my yoga practice. So that posture came, and then of course I've got probably, at least 20 postures after it. And just seeing that anger towards myself stuck, right? It stayed. That's just the fact, is that emotions aren't just like this. Right? Emotions that we cause us to release hormones, to release chemicals in our body that do stick around and take time to purge. Emotions have their own life, and they're not just in the head, they're in the body as well. And so we can notice that too. It's not just about yoga, it's about life. And I think that's one of the reasons to use yoga as this example, because it's a microcosm of the rest of life. Meditation is a microcosm of the rest of my life. I can see clearly what's going on in my mind. I can see clearly what's going on in my body, and I can see the connection between the two. The body changes. What used to be easy is no longer easy. This is the concept of impermanence. Like, things are constantly changing. Sometimes things are changing in the better way. Sometimes my attitude is becoming happier. And I guess that's maybe one of the things that you can rely on when you're not feeling happy, is that this too will pass, right? I think that's the kind of the famous impermanence line. This too will pass. This isn't going to be here forever. And, that's the other thing that helps to reduce suffering as well, is know that this pleasant thing isn't going to be here forever. As much as I want it to be, it's not going to be here forever. So suffering isn't always about things changing. It's also about, it's not also that things have changed in impermanence, that things are getting worse, potentially. It's also like that I want things to stay how they are. So let us go ahead and get into our meditation practice. I hope this talk today has been helpful. It's a little less structured than I usually do, just because I just wanted to connect and tell you, what's going on and what's been going on. And, hopefully there's a part of you that can relate and knows about the truth of the present and the truth of the body, and that it's nothing that we need to hide from. And that, in fact, that denial about it is often what keeps us from doing the things that are most helpful for us. So it's great to have you guys here today. Let's get into practice. So sit comfortably, whatever that looks like for you. If you like, you can close your eyes. You can, if you want to keep your eyes open, that's okay too. And let me just invite you to notice what it feels like to breathe. And I don't know if it's because I've been meditating for quite a few years now. So it's hard to remember what it was like being just starting out. But for me, the breath, there's almost always something so calming about coming back to noticing what it feels like to breathe. And maybe that's something I'd love to hear from you that would help me as a teacher, is what does it feel like for you when you observe the way it feels to breathe? So you can, if you feel comfortable, you can feel free to write that in the chat. But for me, there's something subtly pleasant about observing my breath. That I just can't help it. That whatever tension I'm having, it doesn't disappear completely, but it's kind of like, my tension's a 7, and the moment I look at my breath, it becomes a 6.5. And then if I stay longer, it becomes a 6. So let's just keep focusing this attention on what it feels like to be breathing. Notice the temperature of the body. And this is something also that changes over time. And so how does the body feel today? Let's examine the crown of the head, the scalp, the hair, the forehead, the eyebrows, the eyes, the nose, the nostrils, feeling the air moving through the body as we breathe, noticing cooler air coming into the nostrils as we breathe in, warmer air as we breathe out. Noticing the jaw, the mouth, the neck, the shoulders, the right arm, the right hand, the left arm, the left hand, familiarizing yourself with your own body. Noticing the chest, the abdomen, the upper back, lower back, the pelvis, noticing what it feels like to have your body in contact with something. The contact between whatever you're sitting on and your body. And the right leg. The right foot. The left leg. The left foot. And so now see if you can examine your body as a whole. What's here today? What do you find? Any aches and pains? Anything that's pleasant? Anything that's unpleasant? What's the feeling tone of the experience of residing in this body right now? And knowing that over seconds, minutes, hours, days, months, years, the body is always changing. This solid sense of self does not exist. The you that is here is different from the you that was here 1 second ago, 1 minute ago, 1 hour ago, 1 year ago. This is the nature of existence. And so can you embrace the you that's here now, because now is the only time that exists. The you that's breathing this breath. The you that's breathing this breath. So we'll stay here together for a few more moments before I start to draw our practice to its close. And so let's draw our practice to its close with 3 rings of the bell. All right. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for meditating with me. Jean says, it feels like coming home. I asked about what does the breath feel like for you? Angie says, it feels like I come back to myself, my body. Yeah, I feel more grounded, ease occurs. And, there's no right way to feel. Maybe that's not how you feel. Certainly, I don't know if you noticed someone, I think I know who it was, entered this, like I should have like a little flashing red light outside this room that says on the air or something when I'm doing these, so people don't come and let this kitten into my room, because this guy he's like absolute ball of energy. He's just all over the place. I'm sure you probably heard him. But I felt that I could feel the agitation as he's like running all over the place. This is Finn. He's the Cornish Rex of the house, and that's what he just wants to run all over the place. So and it's good for me in my practice to have a cat running around the room when I'm trying to do a live event. It just like I see the I see the agitation sometimes in myself as like I'm like, why can't it be Frank? Why does it have to be Finn? Finn is just really just like this super crazy ball of energy. So thanks for joining today. And so what was it like? What was your practice like? What did you discover as you went on today? I ask this every time we do these live events. What was today's practice like? Because each practice is different. Each time, every moment is different. There are no two moments in our life that are exactly the same. And that's why I ask, what's it like today? Maybe following the breath wasn't grounding. Maybe following the breath made you feel agitated. It made you feel panicking. Made you feel like I'm suffocating. What was that like? Oh, yeah. Jenny asks, what yoga pose was it? All right. It's quite technical. I'll just say the name of it is what Marichasana D is the yoga pose. It's one that when I recently this year I got into that pose for the first time, and I was so happy. And so, that's the thing, is when I can't catch in Marichasana D, then I'm like, that's what's funny, right? I couldn't do it 6 months ago, so what's the big deal? Why can't I be okay with not being able to do it now? I had a period of a few months where I'm able to catch on both sides so easily, right? Every single time, and now I can't do it, and I'm just like, it's that kind of going backwards and making progress and then seeing some of that progress slip away is just feels annoying, even though it's like it's not like I'm not like I injured myself and I'm back like 5 years ago in my yoga practice. No, this is just from a few months of progress, and then and I'm sure I'll have it back in a couple weeks time. But it's just to see that it's and so whatever, right? It's so easy for me to rationalize that too. I think thanks Jenny for saying this, because I can rationalize what's going on, but rationalizing it doesn't change how I'm feeling right now, or in that moment especially. Back then when I'm kind of going like, hey, like I can't get it now, I'm frustrated, I'm angry at myself, I'm seeing that anger at myself bleed into the next moments and bleed into the next half an hour, and affect how it's going, right? I think I don't play golf, but I have friends that do, and that's one of the things I remember about golf was like you mess up one hole, and it just like ruins the rest of your golf game because of that anger at yourself of that. And I think, golf's an interesting mindfulness practice as well, because it really is. It's I mean, sure, there's a lot of skills you can learn, but there's so much of it that's up here. Jenny, I find down dog hard. Down dog, like my down dog is not perfect, and it won't be, maybe ever, and that's okay. My down dog is, that's, are your heels touching the mat, right? Are your legs straight? What's your upper body look like? It's, it is what it is. And I guess that's the down dog's such a great pose. I mean, I have to say that's, it is so, it's just feels so good. And I have to say that's one of the things I love about yoga is just the coming home to my body. Right. And so, focusing on the breath is coming home to the body, but it's like, what does my entire body feel like? I mean, I feel one thing with the breath, but there's, so much richness in the yoga practice because I can just feel from head to toe. I can feel everything that's going on in my body, and it's really beautiful. I'm always holding a cat during meditation time. They hear your voice. One has to climb into my arms. That's really cute. I wish, Finn's nice. I mean, at certain times of the day, he's really calm and fun to hang out with, but not when you let him into a room and then close the door, and then he's like stuck in here. Then he just wants to get out, and that's what he's doing. All he's doing as he like sprints across this room is this. It's his way of communicating to me. Let me out of here, please. He's funny. I got him. He's trying to walk by again. Just one more glimpse of the master Finn. Whoa, he's gonna go. Woo. Follow me on Insight Timer if you don't. That's the most helpful thing you can do. One of the also really helpful things you can do. Take my course on the 9 attitudes of mindfulness if you haven't yet. I'm proud of it. I think it's a good one. You can donate as well. Thanks, Gene, for your donation earlier, and thanks everybody for being here. So I will be back in 47 hours and 12 minutes. So look forward to seeing you then. We're going to talk about the next step. So, hey, the body doesn't lie. I can see what's going on. I can see where I am. And gosh, sometimes there's some judgment in there. So one of the antidotes to self-judgment is self-compassion. So we're going to talk about that next time and how that fits in, and then use that as a springboard into the next series, which is the 12 lessons that I will have up definitely this week sometime. So looking forward to sharing all of that with you. Cece says, forgetting, failing, falling behind is humbling. Thanks, Sybil. Thanks, Angie. Thanks again, everybody, for being here. Hope you have a lovely day or evening going forward. And, I'm excited to share this journey with you, however it goes. The ups, the downs, the goods, the bads, the impermanence of life, the joy and struggles and suffering of being human. That's what it's all about. So join me, if you will, with the well wishes to ourselves and everybody who's here before we go. May I be happy and peaceful. May everybody here, watching, listening, wherever you are, I wish you all happiness and peace. May all sentient life, human beings on this planet, cats, animals, plant life, the rocks, the rivers, may everything, everyone, everywhere be happy and peaceful. Until next time. Bye-bye.